Hello there, everybody. This is General Snivy, and welcome back to more of the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition playthrough. Last time, we completed several more quests and also made our way towards Frontier Village, aka the home of the Nopon. And we also made a new friend, Melia. So, after heading into Frontier Village, we met up with Melia, tried to cheer her up a little bit, and see if we could possibly help her just because we want to be friends. Know what I mean? So, after that was done, we then were instructed by the chief of this place to meet this legendary Heropon, who was supposed to be the strongest person in the entire village. So, let's go and meet him today. And this, let's do it with style, with grace. This is what I call falling with style. Speesh. Neato, got it first try. Obviously, jumping from that height would kill you, but hey, it is what it is. Alright, let's see what you have in store for us. Also, one other thing I will go ahead and mention here is that I did recently change around everyone's clothing a little bit, and I also increased everyone's level up to level 37. Why 37 and not 40 to round things out? Because the enemies around here are still around the mid to high 30s, and I don't want to make things super easy and just completely annihilate everything around me. Not just yet. Not till later. So anyway, let's see if this young lady here has any more quests besides the one, and it doesn't look like it. Alrighty then, time to say hello to the legendary Heropon.
May I introduce Heropon Riki!
Watch out!
Get off me! To you!
Right in the... Take this, furball!
Damn! Nice one, Ryan. That's too funny.
I introduce to you this year's legendary Heropon, Riki!
New hum friends, meet this year's legendary Heropon, Riki. Riki live to serve.
Very nice to meet you, Riki.
A Heropon, you say? Not sure where you'll come in handy, but the more the merrier. Shulk, are these Telephia as strong as they sound?
Yes. They're quick as lightning and can read your mind.
Mind-reading giant bird? No problem.
I can see their movement through the Monada, but even that's not enough to get the better of them.
And we're going up against the daddy version. No one blink for a second.
Okay.
Eyes wide open.
And don't forget that Melia is our only chance of making it to Eryth Sea. If anything happens to our guide, it's on our heads. The Telephia is our target, but don't forget about the person standing next to you.
Dunban's right. I am in your debt. My weaknesses are all too apparent.
No worries, Melia.
Riki has been informed of the Dinobeast, what you refer to as the Telephia. Be safe, my hum friends.
friends, listen to Riki. Dinobeast is big and scary. Friends, get ready. Friends, help Riki get ready.
You want us to get equipment for you?
Riki's friend, right? Hum clever. Friends meet Riki when ready. Then, friends and Riki leave together.
Big attitude for a furry footrest.
Dinobeast is big and scary.
Great. That'll come in handy.
Is it just me, or did we suddenly become Nopon mercenaries?
Too funny, Charla. Too funny. Anyway, before we move on and before Riki officially joins our party, we do have to gather some equipment for him, and this is one of those things that has to be done in order to progress. Which is, not too bad, actually. Thankfully, the equipment you pick up for him is free. It's for free. You just speak to the shop clerks and get the equipment. It's as simple as that. And when it comes to the equipment that is required, as soon as you pick it up, you do have to put it into your inventory. I don't think you're allowed to drop it. So, if your inventory of weapons and stuff of that nature is full, you will have to make room for this quest item. So, and when I say quest item, I mean there's 2 of them. Anyway, let's go ahead and get everything we need and get moving. And of course, maybe pick up a couple more quests along the way too. See if we can get as many done as possible. Okay. So yeah, like I said, the equipment that you have to pick up for Riki, you do have to add it to your inventory. So again, if you don't have the room, you gotta make room. Although you can use it as an opportunity to sell some stuff if you need to. So, it won't be that bad.
Greetings.
I did not mean to speak to you. I wanted to examine this. Okay. Let's fix this up real good. So anyway, the quest we just picked up, other than the story quest, we just have to go around the frontier village and fix a few mushrooms that are currently malfunctioning and producing way more pollen than necessary. Funny enough, Riki already has his best weapon equipped, so this Gnasher is completely pointless. Yay.
Ready to go! Come, new friends! Riki's adventure begins!
Riki, you do know where the Telephia is, don't you?
Of course Riki know. Melly, Riki hear you hurt Dinobeast.
I did, but only a little.
When Dinobeast hurt, Riki know it go to place with ether crystals. Friends and Riki go to place with crystals. Then we find Dinobeast. Chief, tell Riki. Chief always right.
So you do know a thing or two about this monster. Guess we'll be searching for some ether crystals then.
Riki, why are you the Heropon?
Why? Because Chief Dunga choose Riki.
He chose you. So you weren't chosen from birth?
Friend wrong. Chief choose by instinct.
By instinct?
Why friend surprised? Chief have sharp instinct. Chief be village seer.
So that's how you became the Heropon. Can't argue with that.
But he is kind of compact for a warrior hero.
Oh, Riki owe lots of monies to village. If Riki defeat Dinobeast, village promise to forget my debts. So Riki like being Heropon.
Makes sense. I mean, it's better than owing money to, like, some sort of mafia group, if you know what I mean. Anyway, say hello to the legendary Heropon, Riki. And as you can see, Riki is... Okay. Not really sure what I'm saying here, but... Anyway, Riki's starting level, I can't really say what it is, but, his lowest level that you can lower him to is level 22. So, for now, I'm gonna go ahead and set him to level 37, along with everyone else. So anyway, Riki is, like I said, my favorite character in the entire game, mainly for his personality, and also for the fact that he's incredibly versatile. You can build him in like a couple of different ways. You can set him up so his arts are more ether-based, or you can set him up to have him be more of a physical brawler, if you know what I mean. Or you could do something more of a balanced build if you really want to. Basically, Riki is probably the most versatile character in the entire game and the most balanced next to Shulk. The only thing about Riki is that he basically replaces Sharla as the healer. Which is kind of hilarious because his You Can Do It ability is just that goddamn strong. It not only affects him, but it also affects the target of whom he's targeting. Whether it be... Okay, let me try rephrasing this. When you use You Can Do It, it not only heals himself, but it also heals everyone else around him. And depending on the level, its effectiveness increases exponentially. Basically, Riki's arts are some of the most powerful and best arts in the game. At least in my opinion. And also, when it comes to skill trees, I've only unlocked Riki's final 2 skill trees recently, before this playthrough began. So, unlike everyone else... Oops, did not mean to do that, I hit the wrong button. So, as I was saying, unlike everyone else whose skill trees are completed, Riki's is not. So, at the very least, we'll be able to see him increase his skills via his skill trees and the different skill branches. And let me tell you, some of Riki's skills are some of the most powerful in the entire game. Like, really powerful. It's kind of astounding, if I do say so myself. And again, as far as Riki's equipment is concerned, most of his equipment, I've already given him basically all of the best equipment in the game, including his weapon. Which, believe it or not, is the Meteor Nibbler. You don't really get this until, like, the very end of the game. So why do I have it equipped? It's quite simple. It's Riki's most powerful weapon. Makes perfect sense, am I right? So, before we head on off, let's see what we should equip. How about haste, and let's see what else. I don't think there's any gems that affect AP growth, unless it's an armor gem. You know, this may not be a bad gem to equip here. Let's see. Let's go with this. This ought to work. Alrighty. Now then, before we head on off, it's time to continue working on this little quest line. Here we are. And of course, even though there are several heart-to-hearts here, we can't exactly view those just yet. Not until quite a bit. As I was trying to say, it's going to take a bit of time before the heart-to-hearts become available. At least most of them, I'm pretty sure. Including this one. It's a lot of the heart-to-hearts around here are very interesting, and don't get me wrong, all of them are very interesting, because it expands on all the characters, their personalities, hopes and dreams, and things of that nature. Let's see here. Where's our next stop? Here we are, right up here. Perfect. It is kind of annoying how, you don't really know when a heart-to-heart becomes available. You just kind of have to run into it and see if it is. And if it isn't, then return at a later point in time. It's as simple as that. It's a snack time. Too funny, Riki. Too funny. Now, one thing I will mention here about Riki is that despite the fact that Riki is a bit childish in nature, he's actually a pretty old man. Not exactly a major plot twist or anything, but just saying. If you've seen that Riki has his own house and everything that's like the size of a mansion, let me tell ya. I'm pretty sure he has a house like that for a reason. Not because he's like the richest person in the world and creates rap songs like Snoop Dogg or anything like that. Hell no. I'm pretty sure he's a family man. Or, in this case, a family guy. Ha ha ha! Although, he's not as bad of a father as the family guy, if you know what I mean. Don't get me wrong. Let's see here.
Yes, no.
Alrighty. That's another quest down. Hell yeah. Oh.
Yes, no.
What's going on here? Oh, a sweet aroma. Oh dear. Looks like this aroma is nothing but LSD. Or something similar in nature. It could also be weed. Who the hell knows? I mean, God did put that plant on this earth for a reason, but that's not the point. The point is, there's something going on with this place, and we kind of need to take care of it before someone ends up kicking the bucket. Or worse, someone gets sued. Also, I love this camera angle. It's kind of hilarious how sometimes, depending on how you approach certain NPCs, the camera may end up getting stuck behind objects, creating obscure camera angles, if you know what I mean. Okay. Now then, let's head on out. I know there are still some quests I can take on around here. Although, maybe at this point I really should look around and see if there's any others that are currently active. Let's see here. Okay, there is something else here. I figured as much. I know it seems like I'm kind of sticking around here for no reason, but tell me. I mean, trust me. Tell me. My God. I guess because I'm reading the text at the same exact time. Jeez Louise. Believe me, I do know that we are going to be leaving here at some point. We'll be heading out relatively soon. That you can count on. Okay, looks like we got everything we need here, almost. Although there's still some things that I kind of need to pick up for this particular quest line. But we'll pick them up in due time, trust me. Alright, let's see. Anything else we need to do? No. Okay. Alright, let's head on out. And of course, before we head on off to our destination, there are some things I kind of want to take a look into. And that would not be that thing right there, obviously, because that is just death waiting to happen. Trust me. Like I said, most high-level enemies around here, they won't attack you unless you attack them first. Or if they decide to get involved themselves. Which, that really shouldn't be too much of a problem most of the time, but it is something to keep in mind. Okay. As far as where we need to go, it is quite a distance away. We have to head on over here towards this particular part of the forest. But thankfully, it really isn't all that bad. It is a little bit of a trek, but it's not going to be the worst thing ever, trust me. This is definitely a interesting sight. Say hello to this asshat, the Breezy Zolus. It is, as you can see, a level 37 unique monster. This is one of those monsters where it's a better idea to lure it a safe distance away from that asshat behind it. Which is, as you can see, a giant T-Rex. Son of a bitch. Well, that is very annoying. One other thing you could do is just wait for the T-Rex to pass by and then fight the thing. As you can see, this thing is a level 98 monster. Since the max level you can be is level 99, with it being around, it is... it's very, very dangerous. So essentially, you have a time limit to fight the unique monster before the T-Rex shows up and starts wrecking your face. The only way you're going to comfortably be able to defeat this thing is if, A, you're strong enough to defeat it very quickly, or B, be level 99 and just completely wreck the horse's face in, and then run for the hills, or just fight the T-Rex for fun. That is entirely up to you. So, I guess I will go ahead and mention this. Shoot. Why am I saying a lot? No idea. Anyway, a bit of interesting trivia worth mentioning here is that the reason why Riki has a high amount of HP here is that during playtesting, one day the QA testers decided to set Riki's HP to a high value. And funny enough, they really enjoyed playing with that high value HP for Riki. And so they left it in the final game, which is pretty nuts, and also pretty neat too. Okay. Alright, time to get to work. Say goodnight. Man, I love doing that.
Good job, everyone.
So anyway, that particular enemy has a pretty nasty spike. I'm not too sure what it was, but regardless though, it was definitely not a fun spike to deal with. As I've mentioned before, spikes should always be approached with caution, as you never know if it's going to be super dangerous, annoying, or both at the same time. Most of the time, I really don't worry so much about spikes, but later on in the game, especially when you're taking on something much more powerful than you, you need to keep Spike in mind. And when I say spike, I mean spikes. So, one more thing I will mention here is that, believe it or not, Riki's theme, it actually played much earlier on in the game when we were interacting with the Colonel, or, well, more or less, we were overhearing him discipline his men, if you know what I mean. It's kind of weird how Riki's theme played around that point in the game. I mean, it was kind of fitting, don't get me wrong, but still, it is a bit of an interesting piece of trivia. One more thing I will mention about Riki here is that Riki's character model is so short that Shallow Waters, he can't really participate in battles in because of that. So as a result, if you want to fight in Shallow Water, you will have to switch characters. And also, Riki can't participate in battles in Shallow Water, so that is something to mention right there. Goodbye. Oh, hello. Goodbye. It's funny how these monsters just choose to die so often. It's kind of hilarious. It's like, oh, hi, I want to beat your face in. Oh, that was a piss poor decision. Oops. Anyway, let's take a look at Riki's new skill. So, his new skill for the heroism tree allows him to wear heavy equipment. I will be going over the different skills and also the different symbols around these skills at a later point in time. Not until we get the 7th party member. Yes, I said the 7th. There is a 7th party member we'll be getting our hands on much later in the game. And as far as who that person is... well, I'm not going to say who it is for spoiler reasons. So, one thing I will mention here is that Riki's talent art is known as Yoink. What that will do is it will steal an item from an enemy. At least that's how it starts out. Depending on what skills you've unlocked within Riki's skill tree, you'll be able to unlock the ability to yoink experience, AP, SP, and other things as well, which is pretty interesting. Let's see here. Alright. That ought to do it. So, yeah, Riki is definitely my favorite character, if you couldn't tell already. I freaking love this man, in more ways than one. Okay. Like I said, Riki is very versatile and can basically be a one-man army if you set him up properly. Well, okay, maybe not a one-man army, but you basically get the idea. And there I go saying that word again, which I need to expunge from my vocabulary. I can't help but say it so damn much. I don't know why. One really awesome skill or ability that Riki has is known as Happy Happy. Happy Happy is a pretty powerful skill where upon using it, you'll charge up the party gauge. Although, you can't always use this for some reason. It's actually a very helpful ability for setting up the party gauge to set up a chain attack just before the battle begins. Okay, let's get to it. Okay. Okay. Time to continue to make our way around here. One thing I will mention here is that Riki's roly-poly It does have the ability to topple an enemy, but if that doesn't happen, then it will just bind the enemy in place instead. So, what is bind exactly? I will explain. Okay, that was great English. I'll go ahead and explain what bind is. What that does is that it will force someone to stay in place. In other words, they will not be allowed to move at all.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Good thing I'm here.
Basically, bind is... it's one of those status elements that really isn't that bad. Unless you're trying to make a quick getaway. Otherwise, if you're inflicted with it, it's basically a death sentence. Especially against super high level enemies. Just saying. It's not exactly something we call a fun time. But, in actuality, it really isn't all that bad. Oh, hi. How you doing, Mr. T-Rex? How you doing? Can you please just leave me alone and let me pass by? Thanks. You're a great help. Looks like this is the place. It makes the most sense considering there's ether crystals over here, and it looks dead.
What is this? Riki never see before. This not Riki's Makna. Riki never see before.
To think it has caused this much damage. What do you mean?
Are you telling me the Telephia did this?
Telephia absorb and drain the surrounding area of all its ether.
That's it. The Telephia is sucking up all the ether, which is causing the natural environment to change.
Shulk, the Telephia can read your mind. Expect it to know what you will do before you do it.
I know. I'll aim for its antenna and stop its ability to read my thoughts. With the Monado at our side, it doesn't stand a chance.
It's much more powerful than its offspring. Do not expect it to fall so easily.
I won't. But we have to trust in the Monado.
Shulk has only met Telephia once, and they were merely the spawn. So why is he so sure of himself? Is it confidence, or a trust in something? Yes, it is trust. He trusts in the power of that sword. What did he say it was called? The Monado. I see.
Stick together, everyone.
Dinobeast, it is Riki imagined.
The Telephia. I take this chance to bring vengeance to my brethren and fulfill my duty. Shulk, I will trap it and cease its movement. Strike when the time is right.
Melia!
Be still!
Oh, yeah! She's nifty with that stuff.
I knew it. She can control ether energy without using catalysts or rifle shells.
I've heard that such people exist. But I never thought she would be one. Shulk, right, Shala. Protect Melia at all costs.
On it.
Right.
Oh boy. Here we go. Time to fight ourselves a Telephia. And it's a full-fledged Telephia at that. So, let's go ahead and change the party around. And let's begin.
Here we go. It's up to you.
Knowledge. Starlight kick. Now, Riki.
Here Riki go.
So when it comes to this thing, this really isn't that difficult of a fight unless you are very unprepared. Oh, great. So, whenever our character falls asleep, also, goddammit, I did not mean to use that. Well, whatever. No big deal.
What the?
Dinobeast grown back thing!
You've got to be kidding me.
No kidding.
It's no good. My ether shots are having no effect.
Its regenerative power is too much.
It is all right, Shulk. Destroying the Telephia is beyond us. We should cut our losses and mourn those who perished.
Never, Melia. The men you lost, I can tell they were dear to you. I know only too well that desire for revenge. And the crushing pain of losing those close to you. I can't stand by and let another person experience what I have. This monster is going down. I'll trap him with the Monado. Then the rest of you hit the Telephia with everything you have.
Thank you.
Ready?
So for the first phase of the fight, you only have to drain about 25% of the Telephia's HP or survive for a certain amount of time. So, one pretty interesting thing about this fight here is when you begin the second phase of the battle, this song that plays here plays throughout the duration of the fight, which is pretty sweet and very fitting considering the circumstances.
My turn. Riki, Heropon meets enemy good.
I will say this, I'm definitely a big fan of the fact that this song is even playing right now. Definitely one of my favorites in the entire game. Although I can't really decide which version of the song I like, the rearranged or the original more. I think they're both just as good in their own right. Oof, poor Riki.
Now! Dumban!
Fight on this!
Sit your ass down.
Now, Melia! Finish him!
God damn. That sure took a lot out of us, but at least the deed is finally done. Bye-bye, Dinobeast.
Brilliant thinking. Even though the Telephia can absorb large amounts of ether energy and regenerate at an incredible rate, absorbing so much energy caused it to implode.
Who would have thought? Brute force wins again. Nothing like an old-fashioned scrap. Dixon would have been proud.
It was the only way I could think of. If there had been another way...
Don't listen to Dunban. Soon you and that Monado will be unstoppable.
It's like a Tephra cave. It was almost natural, instinctive. The Monado responded to me, and I harnessed a new power.
You'll get your chance, Shulk. We'll turn that face Mechon into scrap.
I know. That's what keeps me going.
Hogard, Garin, Damil Isel. Are you there? I did it. It's dead. Did you see? I thank you for your aid in my cause. Justice has been served.
You're welcome. Besides, it was mostly you.
Dinobeast! Heropon Riki ready for round 2! Hey! Fight over already? No, Riki not no!
I'm afraid it's all finished.
We couldn't have done it without you, brave little Heropon.
Riki brave. Rhine also a little brave. Riki happy.
Heropon Riki, be proud! Heropon Riki, tough guy!
Heropon Riki, bestest!
Look at him. Barely hit a toe and he gets all the praise.
Let him have his glory. A few days ago, the villagers wouldn't give him the time of day. Besides, won't you miss him just a little bit?
Chief Dunga, Riki beat Dinobeast. Does Riki still have debt?
No, Riki, your debts are repaid. However, while you were gone, your little pons ate like ravenous Oluga. It set Chief Dunga back quite a bit. Nopon of Frontier Village, a new prophecy has been told. Our Heropon, slayer of Dinobeast, will further his legend by accompanying the Hom-Hom on their travels and bringing peace to the lands of Bionis.
Oh, Riki never hear this.
It was prophesied many years ago.
Chief lying. Chief make a prophecy 1 minute ago. Oh, Riki mad.
Riki, go with these people. For the sake of the village, you must go. My instinct is never wrong. Do not worry, Riki. Your little pons will be taken care of.
Dadapon stomach rumble.
Dadapon need food! Dadapon need food now!
Dada? Riki, what on Bionis is going on?
Friends, meet Riki, Wifey Pon, and Little Pon.
You have got to be joking.
Wife and children. Riki, how old are you?
Riki have 40 years. Oh, friends look puzzled.
Not puzzled, just surprised.
Riki! Oka borrow monies for Little Pon's food. Chief Dunga know best. Riki must work for Little Pons to have good life.
Riki will. Okay, Oka. Riki, happy to join friends.
Rhine happy too. Come on, furball.
Now you can return with your head held high, my dear.
Indeed. Thank you, Dunga. My thanks for your gracious help.
Not at all. Peace has been restored to the Makna region. On behalf of all Nopon, thank you.
Chief Dunga is very fond of Melia.
Same Hom-Hom, different world. Not fair if you ask me.
I wouldn't be so
Chief
sure
Dunga.
about that.
Will you kindly grant these Homs passage to Eryth Sea? It is my promise to them.
Without question. These Hom-Hom fought valiantly in aid of our village. And a request by you, my dear, cannot go unanswered. I shall inform the villagers at once.
You are too kind. The chief has spoken. You should depart for Eryth Sea at once. Prepare your things and see me when you are ready.
Okay, well, whatever you say. Also, apologies for the screen going dark temporarily. It's a bit of a technique known as burn-in reduction. So what that is, it's actually pretty simple. How it works is that after a certain period of time of inactivity, the screen will dim to black. And it'll just stay that way until you press a button or move the analog stick in any particular way. Why it does this? I guess to reduce burn-in if you're playing this on something like an OLED or something. It reduces the chances of colors and other things being burned into the TV itself. It really depends on what TV you play on. My TV is a 4K television, but it's an LED. It's an LED television, 4K Ultra HD. It also has a certification for HDR10. But obviously the Nintendo Switch is incapable of producing HDR for obvious reasons. And even if I could showcase HDR content, I really can't, simply because I don't have the capture card to do so, which is unfortunate, but oh well, it is what it is. I would love to get my hands on an HDR-capable capture device myself, but the thing is, I kind of need a new PC that's more built on current gen technology. My current setup is of a pretty old generation of Intel processors of Generation 4. Plus my graphics card is only in like the 900 series. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still an excellent graphics card and all, and it's still the hell of a beast in its own right. Plus it's able to, Plus, it's able to play a lot of games in 1080p 60 FPS without too much of a problem. Of course, there are some exceptions with certain AAA titles, such as the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. Even though most of the game plays at 1080p 60 without too much of a problem, there are other games that do have a bit of a performance problem. The biggest example I can think of is Final Fantasy 15. You want a mixer? Okay. So, I think when it comes to this particular quest, in order to start it, you do have to speak to this Nopon with Shulk as the party leader. If you try to speak to him with anyone else, then it will not start. And you also, I believe, have to finish it with Shulk as the leader as well. So, again, a bit of a weird requirement. Thankfully, it isn't all that difficult to figure out and experiment to figure out who you need to speak, who you need to have to speak to the individual to start the quest. Just saying. Perhaps what I'm trying to say here is, it's pretty easy to figure out who you need to speak to in order to start certain quests. Ooh, hello, heart to heart at the Pollen Works. Let's take a look. Achoo! Frontier Village's famous Pollen Works. Wow, Riki, great machine. Is it all made from wood? Tut tut tut! Shulk say wrong word. This not machine. Because it's not made of metal? Yes! Yay, Shulk right! Machine has metal! Nopon device use no metal, so no, not called machine. Now that I think of it, I haven't noticed a lot of metal in this village. Riki and Nopon at one with the forest. If forest not have metal, Nopon not use metal. Is all of it from the forest? Yeah, Shulk too clever for Riki. Too much a big brain hom-hom. I've seen a lot of Makna Forest. Some of these parts don't really look like they came from here. Bellows hold together with very strong rope given by bird people. And hom-hom teach us use oil to make motion smooth. Device go round and round with only small amount of energy. That's fascinating, the way all the different techniques fit together. Nopon live all over Bionis, here, there, everywhere. Nopon see new things, bring new things back to village. I love it. It's a great design. Mixing foreign and Nopon technology, that's brilliant. I'm really impressed, Riki. Riki not make it, but thank you. Kind of unfortunate I messed up that heart-to-heart a bit, but alas, things happen. Kind of unfortunate I still can't view this particular heart-to-heart yet, probably not for a while. Also, for whatever reason, despite the fact that Riki has children just roaming around and about, for whatever reason, the children aren't named. Which is kind of funny considering that the extra story actually involves Riki's kids in some way. As far as who exactly, it'll be revealed in due time. Okay. That's not too bad. Here you go. Here's the thing. Alrighty. I think in order to proceed onwards, we do need to speak with Melia at the top of the tree, which thankfully isn't too hard. In fact, I think you can fast travel most of the way to the very top, but the reason why I didn't do it sooner was because there are still some quests that become available as of right now after you defeat the Telephia. Speaking of quests, I do know there are some other quests that I think have opened up around this time in other places, including the refugee camp for Colony 6. Speaking of Colony 6, I believe around this time is when we can actually start reconstructing the place, though I can't really say for sure if that's really the case or not. Funny enough, reconstructing the entirety of Colony 6 is optional, so you don't have to even bother with it if you don't want to. Although doing so will give you some really neat rewards if you manage to raise the levels of Colony 6 and just reconstruct it back to its former glory. Let me tell you, it is a bit of a pain, especially when you're trying to get your hands on certain materials, but it is definitely worth it. It's worth it to see the town rebuilt back to the way it was before, and then some. It's actually quite a fun little experience. Definitely would recommend.
Melia, what will you do now?
I would like to repay you for your help. Permit me to act as your guide to Eryth Sea.
Of course. We'd love you to.
But I must warn you. Eryth Sea is vast. Do you know where you wish to go?
There's a dark tower at the head of the Bionis. I saw it in a vision. That's where I must go.
A dark tower?
Then we need not search at all.
So you've heard of it?
Heard of it? I have seen it. A dark tower at the head of the Bionis. Only one place fits that description.
And that
So
would be
you know
Prison
it.
Island.
I believe what you saw was Prison Island.
Prison Island. Dixon said the same thing.
Indeed. Melia, have you ever been there?
I have not set foot upon the island, but I know of it. Prison Island is sealed. No one may enter without Imperial sanction.
Imperial sanction, eh? That means we'll be needing someone to grant us entry. I've heard that Eryth Sea is home to an empire ruled by the High Entier. They might be our best chance.
You are knowledgeable for a Homs.
Sanctions? Empires? Anyone help here?
A sanction is permission from someone important. An empire must be a place ruled by an emperor. In other words, we need an emperor's permission to enter the island.
This emperor, is he important?
Long before we Homs built the colonies, a group of so-called royal types, or imperials, ruled our lands. Think of them like the heads of our colony, but with much greater influence and power.
Now I get it. Dumban knows more than a textbook.
Are you kidding? That's first year Homs history, Rhine.
I've slept through that class.
Sick
When do we get to
burn.
meet these high Entier folks?
You are so Oh, forget it. First, we must travel to the Imperial capital.
We'll see how easy it is to see this Emperor.
My promise was to be your guide. I will not break it.
Melia, isn't that the...
The shortcut to Eryth Sea. Yes.
A shortcut to Eryth Sea, eh? That sounds quite fascinating. Honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what Eryth Sea is all about. Although, we'll find out all about it soon enough. For now, though, I kind of want to talk to you first. Just to add that particular person to the affinity chart, which, funny enough, it took me a really long time to figure out who I need to speak to and what quests I need to complete in order to get the additional skill trees for Riki. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy. I will say this, the best resource of finding out what you need to know when it comes to certain parts of the game and just information in general, the best place to go is the Xenoblade Wikia. It has all things Xenoblade related. Basically anything and everything that you need to know when it comes to that is all right there, available to see. Just be careful when reading, as you might accidentally spoil yourself on something. So, yeah, just a bit of forewarning. This place seems incredibly mysterious, Riki. Yes, this is a mysterious sanctuary called Prophecy Hut. So, this is where the Nopon receive their prophecies? Melee, right? Melee know how Nopon get prophecy? They're delivered from on high? Wowee, Melee! Melee know lots about Nopon. Eryth Sea sits above the village. Looking at it from here gives me a strange feeling. Ah, Riki know. Riki figured it all out. What have you figured out, Riki? I know who you think is extra especially special. You mean Shulk? Ah, no! Riki has a rival! When I left Alchemoth, I was not aiming to meet anyone like Shulk. But when I met him, it felt like it was destined. Wow, so destiny makes Melee meet Shulk. Not just Shulk, meeting all of you felt like fate. Including you, Riki. Riki and Melee destiny too? Yay, whoopee! Gotta love messing up those, heart-to-hearts sometimes. Oh well, it is what it is. Sometimes these things happen. Also, the reason why I spoke to that particular Nopon was I wasn't 100% sure if I added her to my affinity chart. If you're unsure if you added someone to the affinity chart, don't be afraid to just speak to that individual. You never know. Sometimes you may have missed it by mistake.
Yay!
Me can send you to Eryth Sea in a flash of light. Are you ready to go? Not just yet. There's still some things I kind of want to take care of first. As far as what those things are, there are going to be some quests. I've been gathering a large number of quests lately, and I haven't exactly been so good at completing them. I have thought about maybe working on completing some quests off screen, but really that isn't the best of ideas, because believe it or not, some of the quests are actually pretty fascinating, and I kind of want to include them. When I say include them, I mean I want to show them off on stream, or in a video form of some kind. Are you sure about that? Well, that doesn't look good. Okay. So for this one, this particular quest has a bit of a branching storyline, either between the bitter kiwi or walnut grapes. You have to gather either one of these ingredients, and depending on what you gather, will proceed the story in one of, well, more or less the quest line, in one of two paths. Since I've already gathered what I need here, I'll go ahead and give him the walnut grapes. Okay. Quest completed. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. As I've mentioned before, completing quests is definitely important, but you don't have to go after them if you don't want to. But it's all part of the fun, as that expands the cinematic universe that is Xenoblade Chronicles. Okay, that shouldn't be too hard. Here you go. What's kind of funny is that, I think for this one, I've already gathered everything I needed, and I think it was part of a quest line anyway, so, again, nice to kill two birds with one stone. More like three birds with one stone, but you basically get the idea, right? So one thing I will go ahead and mention here is, if you see blue orbs on the field, don't be afraid to pick them up. You don't have to worry about them filling up your inventory so much, as each of these things you can hold up to 99 of them, I'm pretty sure. And most of them you can gather them without too much of a problem, especially today with this version of the game. Also, very important that you speak to those particular individuals. How important? Well, believe it or not, talking to them and then proceeding to a certain point within the storyline, you'll unlock more, you will unlock the opportunity to unlock one of Riki's additional skill trees. Which, funny enough, like I've mentioned earlier, it took me a long time to figure that out. Because you not only have to talk to those individuals, you also have to complete another quest in order to even start that particular quest that I've just mentioned. It's kind of weird and also pretty damn annoying. But the rewards are more than worth it, trust me. Okay, okay. So, as far as this particular quest that we're tracking right now, one thing I'm definitely doing here is I'm just going to change the time and also work on completing more quests at the same time. Speaking of quests, I think what I'm going to be doing for this particular session is I am going to be focusing on completing more quests than proceeding onward through the story. Because at this point, we basically gathered the entire party of whom we're going to be spending the most time with in the entire game. Even though I alluded that there is a 7th party member, like I've mentioned earlier, we won't be gathering that particular party member for a long time from now. How long exactly? It's gonna be a while yet. There's still many places where we need to Monado. Sorry. I know that was like the worst way of using the word Monado, but it is what it is. what can I say? Things happen. You gotta love IGN. I know, I'm kind of poking at a dead horse at this point over and over again, but I can't really help it if the review for IGN was so piss poor. It's one of the most memeable reviews of all time, next to, I believe, Pokemon Alpha Ruby and, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where one of the cons was too much water. Which is hilarious if you think about it. Just saying, it's kind of hilarious if you really think about it. IGN, you can't spell ignorance without those 3 letters. Yay! And the reason why I keep bringing that up is, well, I kind of look at IGN not so much for their reviews, but more so for news stories, if anything. Of course, I do follow several news-based YouTubers, such as Review Tech USA, who delivers gaming news and reviews and things of that nature. And let me tell you, he does a hell of a better job than the ignorance known as IGN. Of course, there are some good people who work for the company, don't get me wrong. It's just the company as a whole. It's not exactly the most reputable of news sites. At least they're not as bad as, say, Fox News or CNN or things of that nature. Hell no. I will say this. I've never was one for politics, and I just do not care for politics whatsoever. I may be approaching 30 years of age, and honestly, I just don't care about politics. It's just not my thing. It just does not interest me. And that's all there is to it. I don't talk about politics for several reasons. One major reason being, 1, it's kind of taboo on the internet, and 2, I don't care about it. I'm not interested in it. Plus, depending on which side you take, you're going to receive a hell of a lot of flack. And I'd rather not walk on that particular tightrope. It's not fun. Not unless it's absolutely necessary. Which never is the case. I don't even know. Regardless, though, politics, not my thing. Never is, never will be. The end. Okay. Bash a big strong monster. Sounds fun. That would make sense, considering that if you want to bash a monster in, you kind of need some strong equipment, and you also need a lot of training in order to take on such a magnificent beast, if you know what I mean. Let's see. Alright. Next thing I'm going to do is return to Colony 9. The reason why I'm doing it is for a couple reasons. First, there are a few quests I can finish up now, and there's also some other ones I can technically start, including one from the Gem Man. It's kind of surreal that he has a quest, but completing his quest grants you something pretty sweet. What we need to do for him is gather enough materials to make a small reactor. In other words, once we complete this quest, we'll be able to make gems from anywhere, and we don't have to return to the Gem Man in order to make more gems. Which, funny enough, when it comes to that particular quest in the original Xenoblade Chronicles, I never completed it. And I just returned to the Gem Man every time I wanted to make more gems. Why? Because gathering the materials was a bit of a pain in the ass. But, thankfully in this version of the game, those problems have been resolved completely, and it just is a lot easier to do, for one. And two, you actually know where these things are. They're marked on your map, for Pete's sake. Let me tell you, it's definitely well worth your time to get your hands on this small ultra reactor. Well, good to see that that particular quest is pretty much completed now. And like I said, you're expected to complete that particular quest way later down the line, but if you are playing New Game Plus, then obviously you can complete that particular quest much earlier than you're supposed to, which is pretty sweet, if I do say so myself. It not only grants you a ton of experience, but also some very useful gems much earlier on than when you're expected to complete the quest, which, again, like I said, is much later. Okay, let's keep moving. Hey there, boy. Come here. Okay. Sure, okay. That shouldn't be too hard to do. At least this girl has some common sense, saying that if she wants to prove her worth, she needs to defeat a monster, but she doesn't have to be the one to defeat said monster. All you have to worry about is just defeating it yourself, because, well, we are capable of doing so. Also, for this particular part of the quest, I believe Shulk has to be the party leader, which, again, makes perfect sense, considering he's someone who loves working on machines, and loves making things with parts and things of that nature. I think if someone other than Shulk approaches that and examines it, then all that will happen is they'll be like, maybe Shulk should be the one to take a look at this. So, one other thing I will mention here is that after completing certain quests, sometimes it's not a bad idea to talk to that NPC again after the quest is done, because doing so may raise the reputation of the town a bit.
Oh, hi.
May not be much, but it's still something worth bringing up regardless. Okay. So, I believe for this one, we just need to beat up a bunch of bats in a cave. That shouldn't be too hard. In fact, we can crush them with our pinky finger relatively easily if we wanted to. But I like a challenge. Speaking of challenges, I'm more or less someone who is a bit of a glutton for punishment. In more ways than one. Which is not exactly considered very healthy for someone of my age. But what can I say? Sometimes I like being challenged, but not challenged to the point where I want to pull my goddamn hair out. Like, for example, if someone asked me to play a Dark Souls-like game or Dark Souls itself, I'm not going to be playing it, because I've actually tried playing a Souls-like game before. Not fun! I mean, sure, it can be fun for some people who, like those kinds of challenges, and hell, some people are so good at those kinds of games that they can literally play the game blindfolded. It's actually quite interesting. Quite interesting and also entertaining to watch as well. just seeing the person blindfolded and just going purely by sound cues that takes a lot of dedication and skill. I will say that much. Obviously, when it comes to me and my skills in gaming, no way in hell am I going to be doing something like that. Unless it's like a for fun kind of challenge, just for the lulz or something. But obviously, I may be good at video games, but I'm not the best at them, if you couldn't tell. Come here. Okay, that shouldn't be too difficult.
Come and see.
Okay, quest is done. And as you can see, you receive a ton of experience and a really damn good gem, Days plus 4. Which, like I said, you don't normally get something like that until much later in the game when you build up the affinity between two female party members quite exponentially. And when I say that, I really mean it. You have to build it up to a point where it's nearly maxed out. It's that damn high. Hello there, my dude.
Hi there.
Funny enough, I feel like I can really relate to this guy right here. It seems like he's good at one particular skill and nothing else. That seems kind of familiar. Like, aka me? Well, don't get me wrong, I'm not that inconfident in my own abilities. It's just there are some things I'm better at than others, which is pretty damn obvious. Oh well, it is what it is. Okay. Before we head on off to this next quest I'm tracking right now, there are some red exclamation marks I'm going to take a look at.
What is it?
So, one other thing I will mention here is sometimes running around does get a bit monotonous and kind of boring after a while. To break up the monotony, one thing I'd recommend you do is just jump around like a rabbit. You may end up moving a bit slower, especially in this version of the game, but it does break the monotony and it makes things that much more fun. A little more fun, to say the least. Although, when it comes to me in games like this, I do enjoy these kinds of games. So, games like this, it may seem like they're boring to some, but to me, I really enjoy games like this. If you couldn't tell, JRPGs have always been my jam. Even if it's something like an open world kind of a JRPG, I love them. Well, at least most of the time. Of course, there are some exceptions. There are some games that are JRPGs and they're not so good. It really depends on how good the story is, the characters, the gameplay, etc. I do know there's one game that is in my collection which sounded interesting at first, but as I was playing it, it really wasn't clicking with me, and it was mainly due to the battle system. And this game I'm talking about is known as Eternal Sonata. I think it was first released on Xbox 360 back in the day, and then later brought over to PlayStation 3. Excuse me. Which, funny enough, I do own the PS3 version of Eternal Sonata, I think. Then again, maybe I sold it. I can't remember for sure. I'd have to look on my shelf to know for sure. Regardless, though, it is not exactly something I'm going to be picking up and playing anytime soon. Honestly, it's just one of those games that doesn't really interest me, which is kind of rare, considering that JRPGs are my favorite genre of video games.
Leave it to Heropon.
I will give it my all, no matter the enemy.
Don't get careless, guys.
Okay, time to get to work. Get smacked.
But we cannot be reckless.
Cool. Let's keep this up.
Okay, well, that quest is done. Okay, target's still inactive. That must mean they only come out around this time frame? Or not? Okay, there we go. Better. Alrighty. So like I said, if you're trying to find a particular NPC in this version of the game, keep changing the time until they show up on the map.
Who's there?
Same also holds true for enemies as well. But when it comes to certain collectibles that are spawning from blue orbs and whatnot, yeah, that's a bit more difficult. How? Well, the chances of them spawning, they can be a bit random. So, yeah, those kinds of quests are a bit more of a pain in the ass than some of the other ones. But it's not that bad, honestly. Looks like this one may have an additional quest tied to it. Aha! As I thought. So for this particular quest, you can approach it in one of two ways. You can either, well, you'll soon see what I mean. Okay, so for this one, you either can mend the lamp or throw the ether cylinder into the lake and just say, screw it. It's for the good of the colony. Kind of like the ending to the movie Ants, if anyone's seen that. Okay, so, like I said, you can either throw the ether cylinders away into a designated spot on the map, or you could go and fix them and just make it so everyone is distracted again. Depending on how you approach it, it's up to you. I've only completed the other one where you just toss them into the water and just be like, nope, this is for the good of the colony. You don't need these. You just need to move on from these needless distractions, if you know what I mean. Now I feel like I gotta freaking pee. I don't know why I have this feeling right now. Funny enough, I went to the bathroom before even starting today's stream. Kind of annoying how these things just keep happening, but it is what it is. I'll keep a hold on to it for as long as I can. I definitely don't want to step away for longer than I need to. Okay, let's see here. I'm not even sure how you're supposed to go about mending the ether lights here, which is kind of baffling, if I do say so myself. I don't know if you're supposed to mend the lamp or throw the ether cylinder in the lake. Funny enough, I think for this, if you want to mend the lamps, I think you have to change the time of day. I can't really say if that's really the case or not. Oh, yeah. It looks like that is the case. You just, get them fixed around the nighttime. Although, throwing the ether cylinders into the lake is easier and faster. If you want to take the other path, you kind of need to wait, or change the time of day. Okay, and I believe around this point, Sesame's final step in his quest line is about to unfold. As far as what this thing is, we'll find out what it is soon enough. One thing I find kind of funny is, depending on your party's formation when you're doing quests and all, some of the dialogue boxes between the different party members can be pretty funny. How? It really just depends on what they say. Why did I feel like I needed to explain that? Whatever, it's not that big of a deal. No need to worry about that.
Hello.
You want to fix the lamp? That's not going to be easy. You'll need an ether cylinder and 2 crabbable fix parts. Okay. So I believe around this point is when... Okay. So around, depending on the decision you make, you may have some additional steps in order to finish the quest, and some steps take longer than others. Just throwing the ether cylinders away is basically more than enough to finish the quest. Well, for the most part. Obviously, with the exception being, you still have to speak to the quest giver. Just saying, though. Let's see what we got in here. Don't need that. There is one other thing I just realized not too long ago, and really I haven't brought this up since. That is, I forgot to make a backup save, or more or less save my progress earlier on. Whoops. Oh well, no big deal. I'll just work with this. Just put it in slot 3. Again, you can rely on autosave fairly easily. Just keep in mind, though, that it only autosaves when you fast travel or complete a particular event or events. Okay, here you go. Here's the stuff. Okay, cool. The ether cylinder lamps are now in working order, which is great. Now we just need to speak to the quest giver and then proceed. Or more or less finish the quest. And I think around this time is when he starts heading out. Well, at least that was a good decision. That's neat. King Cluster. It's a new weapon for Sharla. Funny enough, I think in order to get that particular weapon, you do need to complete the quest in that particular way. Otherwise, you won't get your hands on that weapon at all. Which is pretty interesting. What's also interesting is the fact that if you want a full fashion collection, you kind of need to play through the entire game multiple times in order to complete the quests in the proper order, if you know what I mean. This is a bit of an interesting quest right here. Funny enough, when you start this quest, another one immediately opens up. And funny enough, this particular quest is another one of those quests which has a bit of a branching line. Depending on how you complete it, you might you might get one reward or you might get another, depending on which one you choose to complete. You know, he does make a very good point. So for this, once you gather the red Pollen Orb, you can either choose to give it to Jiroke or the other guy. It really depends on how you approach this quest. And one of two things may happen depending on the choice that you make. So it's pretty important to know what you're going to be doing. It's important to know which path you choose to take. It will have a pretty big impact on who sticks around and who ends up leaving basically forever. It really depends on how you approach it. Alright, all done with that. Another pretty easy, unique monster to defeat. Although, considering the fact that, shoot, I don't even remember what I was going to say. Oh well, it's no big deal. Oh yeah, the monster itself is, pretty easy if you're at a high enough level and you can just completely wreck its face in.
Alright.
However, if you're under-leveled, don't bother fighting the thing until later anyway. Also, it's a good idea to not even bother fighting certain monsters until quests saying that you have to fight a particular monster becomes available. Why? It's actually pretty damn simple. And that is, if you fight the unique monster, it might not spawn until like a million freaking tries later. Oh dear. Looks like this plan Sesame is cooking up. Oh boy, that may not be too good. Is he committing a terrorist act, or is there more to it? We'll find out right now. Oh, Okay. So that wasn't so bad then. It's just fireworks. Alright. Everything's so dark and gloomy these days. No one has anything happy to talk about. So we figured if we couldn't light up people's lives, and we did it with fireworks. Only 3 though. Too bad, huh? Betty's husband makes gunpowder, so that's what she gave me. Then we asked Kenny Rowan to design the fireworks for us. Isn't it great when everyone's ready to club together like this? Yeah, actually it kinda is, but I kinda wish you would have told us sooner from the very start. Then we would have been more on board with this plan. Just saying. Oh, what do you mean that's not fun? I mean, I get the fact that you're trying to surprise everyone, but really you should only be surprising those outside of your so-called club. Club members should know this kind of information, because some of them may oppose this idea if it is going in the wrong direction. Just saying. Thankfully, after that particular quest is done, you don't have to worry about doing any more of this quest again. Just saying.
Hi there.
Okay, that's actually pretty funny. Okay, so when it comes to this particular quest, a big brother's fight and a little brother's fight, these 2 quests right here, like I said, they do have a bit of a branch tied to them, but they're also timed quests. So in other words, these particular quests, you really should get those done as soon as possible.
How's it going?
Otherwise, you're going to miss out on the opportunity to finish it. But if that doesn't bother you, then don't worry about it then. Just saying though, if you want to know the epic conclusion to that particular tale, it's a good idea to do the quest as soon as possible. So if you're trying to prioritize quests, take care of the ones with the timer on them. I think I've brought this up before, but I will go ahead and mention it again because why not? Okay. Let's see. I think for the red pollen orb, I do know that it's somewhere within Satoru Marsh, but as far as where, we'll find out soon enough. It might not be too far from our current destination, or it may be a bit of a ways away. What's also pretty nice about coming back here again is, at the very least, we can hear the nighttime version of this song once more. And like I said, it's quite relaxing and fascinating. Definitely am a big fan of this theme at night, that is for sure. Probably one of my favorite songs in the entire game. It's just that serenic. I'm not even sure if that was even a word, but you basically get the idea, don't you? I hope you do. There we are. I thought I saw some exclamation marks, meaning that there would be a particular quest around there, but thankfully that's not the case. Okay, now that we got the red pollen orb, it's time to finish this quest. As far as whom we're going to give this red pollen orb to, I did complete the one where I handed it to the big brother during my first run of this game. So, let's see how this one will turn out. Did you bring it? Thank you. Okay, so he's the little brother. My mistake. Well, you know what I mean. They're not related by blood, but you know how it goes. Alright, well, see you around, little dude. Enjoy your travels. And we got ourselves a nice jungle top, too. So, that's pretty neat. Okay, let's see what's next. Light Seekers in Colony 9. Target's not found, which is interesting. Oh, here we go. Perfect. So one thing I will definitely mention here is that one of my favorite things to do in this game is jump from a really high height and just land in the water. Why is that? It's just fun watching them collide with the water and just be perfectly healthy and fine. If that was real life, then obviously they'd be dead in the water, literally. If you know what I mean.
But we cannot be reckless.
Cool. Let's keep this up.
Alright, let's see what we got. Alright, next up, Tephra Cave. So, as you should know by now, there are some other quests that we kind of need to take care of around here, which thankfully aren't too hard. Get burned. Bye! Pretty nice how they all got roasted on an open fire. What's even more hilarious is that, believe it or not, we can actually farm this area for the targets of whom we're looking for. Get smacked. Okay. Okay. Another quest down. Pretty much. I know that I haven't exactly gone that much further into the story than just a little bit. As far as story progress. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, I know I haven't really progressed the story all that much today. The whole reason why I didn't do so is because I mainly wanted to focus on getting Riki added to the party. And also focus on starting certain quests. And also work on finishing up some of the other ones that I've been gathering all this time. Every so many sessions, I will be dedicating sessions to quest doing and working on finishing up a lot of the quests that I have gathered all this time. Just solely due to the fact that there are so many in this game that it's not even funny. Some of these quests can take quite a while to complete. And like I said, you don't have to do every single one of them, but I highly recommend that you do try to take on as many as you can. Okay. Again, apologies for scrolling through these text boxes so damn fast.
Hey.
Okay. So, I guess one thing I will go ahead and mention here is that I know that normally I don't stream on Saturdays unless it's something... Unless I feel like speedrunning Banjo-Kazooie that day or something. Wrong target, but oh well, it works. Well, that was easy.
Let us hurry onwards.
Alrighty. What's really nice about these particular quests here, I will say, is that most of them can be done relatively quickly if you know exactly where to go and know who you need to fight. Which is another reason why this version of the game is the definitive way of experiencing the whole game. It just makes doing quests that much easier, more fun, and less obtuse, if you know what I mean. It's a lot less random. You know exactly who you need to target, and know exactly where to go. It's just little quality of life improvement things like these that really make the experience that much better. Hence the reason why I've waited so long to cover this game. I knew at some point this game was going to receive a remake, or at the very least a remaster, which is what this version of the game received. It is a remaster. No matter what anyone says, it is a remaster, not a remake. So this particular quest... This quest is another one of those quests that has a bit of a branching storyline attached to it. So, depending on what you choose to do and how you choose to approach it, one of two outcomes will be determined. So, when it comes to this particular quest, this can be done in a couple of different ways, or more or less two ways. The first is gathering get the shield and just have her participate in the trial with it, or you can go and speak to a certain Nopon to give the poison-soaked sword. In which case, according to the vision, if we choose to get the poison-tipped sword, she'll win no problem. She'll win her little duel, if you know what I mean. Okay, apparently I can't push the right buttons. Okay. So, when it comes to this particular quest, the first time I did it, I gave her the shield. And even though she lost, it did yield a pretty interesting reward, and also taught this person a pretty valuable lesson. At least in my opinion. Of course, I never seen this other path, not until now. Okay, here you are. Here's the items. So, funny enough, this Nopon Claymore is a key item, and it's not a weapon of which you or any of your party members can equip, which is pretty interesting. Now then, time to turn this in, and see how this turns out, see what we get. And like I said, once you make a decision and go down one particular path on the quest line, there's no turning back on the other one. It's not like, say, you're playing something like Undertale and you decide that instead of committing mass genocide, you decide to go on a neutral path. It is something you could do and change your mind about halfway through if you so wish. Not in this game, though. Thankfully, you don't have to do anything like that. That now makes a lot more sense. Now she feels bad that she used such a cheap tactic to pass her little test. But, anywho, we get ourselves some pretty nice equipment. Although, screw it, I'll take it. I was thinking of just leaving it behind, considering I had so many of these things anyway. Whatever. No big deal. I'm not sure if these heart-to-hearts have opened up yet. This one hasn't. But what about the Mekon wreckage site? Nope. Not yet either. Alright, that makes sense. Alright, next. Back to Tephra Cave again. What's really funny is that a lot of these quests around this point, I think, do take place between Colony 9 and Tephra Cave. Which, again, does make sense, considering where the quest giver is, and where you have to go, and what you have to do. Which, like I said, thankfully, a lot of these quests can be done very, very quickly, considering that the areas of which we're exploring are all very, very low-leveled areas. Of course, as we progress through the game, that will change. Get smacked. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, lizard. Okay. Thankfully, like I said, these quests are pretty easy and quick to take care of, especially if you know exactly where to go and what to do. And also depending on the choices that you make. Cool. So, for this particular quest right here, Jackson's being offered a job, which is pretty nice. So at least he'll be doing something that he loves to do, which is pretty sweet. Hello there. Funny how I said that almost in sync with Jackson. Here we are. Another quest down. On to the next one.
Hi there.
A strange bug, eh? That shouldn't be too hard to get rid of. Yeah. We are pretty good at smashing bugs' faces in, am I right? Okay. So, one thing I will mention here is... if you, shoot, what was I going to mention? Oh yeah, now I remember. If you accept a new quest, if you're fast enough and push the minus button, then you'll be able to immediately start tracking the new quest that you just picked up. Okay. So if you're working on gathering a bunch of quests and you're trying to keep track of each and every single one, don't be afraid to just push the minus button and start tracking the quest.
Leave it to Heropon.
I will give my all, no matter the enemy.
Don't get careless, guys.
Fighting! Heropon, biggest, strongest!
Bye-bye.
Remain vigilant.
Cool. Let's keep this up.
Again, another easy peasy lemon squeezy kind of quest. A lot of these quests are basically that. Very easy to take care of. Also, I think I just fast traveled to the wrong location. Oops. Again, no big deal. Thankfully, fast traveling doesn't cost you any time in-game. So, that's pretty nice. So if you fast travel to, like, the wrong location or something, then you don't have to worry about time passing just to fast travel to another location where you meant to go. What do we have over here?
Hello.
It's you again. Oh, that is definitely a crisis. Alright, sure. That shouldn't be too hard to get our hands on. Okay. I think what I was trying to say was, I think I gathered most of these items without too much of an issue. But it appears that I am still missing out on some of these items, which is kind of unfortunate. But again, not that big of a deal. It really isn't. Okay. Here you go, Jackson. Here's your stuff. Or more or less. The bug is gone. You don't need to worry about it anymore. I really should pay more attention to these things. Oh well, it is what it is. This is what happens when you're trying to take on multiple quests at the same exact time. Alright, let's see where we need to go. Thankfully, this isn't too difficult to figure out. Heh. It's kind of funny how Riki just splashed into the water and he immediately was able to move. Any other character would not have been able to do that. In fact, I think Shulk ended up taking a little bit of damage there, which was kind of interesting, to say the least. Also, when it comes to this particular quest right here, because I took care of one part of the branching quest line, another quest did open up at a later point in time. And when it comes to this particular quest right here, I've never done this one before. So this is going to be pretty interesting to say the least. At the very least, I will say that this is a brand new experience when it comes to this particular quest. Which, as I mentioned before, this game does have a ton of quests. How many exactly? I can't really say for sure, but I think I've read along the lines of 480 some quests. Like 484? Maybe? And you can't complete every single one in the entire game, as some of them have branching storylines and break off. So when you complete one version of the quest, another one automatically is considered a failure. And it just disappears, so you can't do it. Which is kind of weird. But it's understandable considering the choices that you make. Alright, let's see what we got over here. Level 38. For some reason I was thinking these things were a bit of a lower level than seen before. But perhaps I'm just a bit crazy. Oh well, it's no big deal.
I see your strength is the genuine article.
Let's stay focused.
Riki is Heropon, so feel no fear.
May no mercy.
Everyone, do your best. Ah, split edge.
not be reckless.
Okay, cool. Ooh, we have a unique monster right here. Funny enough, I think for this particular unique monster, I never even fought it before, so this is going to be interesting. Considering whom is surrounding this beast.
Leave it to me! Scream edge!
My turn. Spear break. You must suffer more.
Here, Riki, go!
Cool. Glad to see this thing's finally toppled.
You must suffer more.
Here, Riki, go! Fighting! Fighting!
Leave it to me!
Wow, that was a hell of a chain.
Not bad!
Was that a bit too much?
Definitely a big fan of that chain. Great, more enemy reinforcements. Alright, this shouldn't be too bad. If everything goes according to plan, that is. Excellent. So, one thing I will mention, when it comes to chain attacks, the load times in between each character's moves and executing them, it's a hell of a lot faster in comparison to the original release, or even the 3DS version as well. As you can tell, the time it takes to do the different moves and switch characters is really damn fast, almost instantaneous. I think it only takes about half a second before the next person takes their move. How? Like, just after an animation completes, that's when...
None can oppose us.
As soon as the animation is done, then you'll immediately start doing the next move. One thing I will mention here is that when you're doing chain attacks and all, when you're doing chain attacks, you thankfully don't have to worry about any sort of time limit when doing them, so that's pretty nice. As far as the next ingredient that we need to get our hands on, the forget-me-nots, thankfully these shouldn't be too hard to get our hands on. Okay. Oh yeah, there was one other thing I wanted to mention, but then I got distracted. I meant to mention this about an hour or two ago. Whoops. Anyway, I know Saturdays are typically not really days that I stream, but the reason why I'm streaming today, as opposed to yesterday when I was supposed to do so, is... simply put, I was not exactly in the best of moods yesterday, and I really did not want that to reflect on the stream itself, because doing so would be kind of unprofessional, if you know what I mean. I wanted to be in a better state of mind before I began the next session of this game, so that was the reason why I didn't stream yesterday, and I'm doing so today to make up for not doing so. Just saying.
Hello.
Okay. Well, I'm glad everything worked out here. Well, that's good to see. Whenever his brother does decide to return back, everything will work out better. Alright, let's see here. Looks like the first item that we need to pick up is in Colony 6, which, coincidentally, in Colony 6, You may remember previously there were 2 iron gates that we could not pass. But at this point now, we can. We can actually pass through those gates, and they are now officially opened. I believe these gates open up after Juju and Atharon leave your party and return to Colony 6 to try and rebuild it, if you know what I mean. I'm not even sure why I said that, but you get the idea. When they leave the party, Colony 6 opens up further. Alright. Also, it's pretty important to examine these areas over here, as there are a couple more landmarks worth going over and taking a look at. For sure. Let's see, do you have anything new for sale? I don't think so. No. Okay. Alrighty then. Glad that's taken care of. So one other thing I will mention here is that I feel as though a lot of the heart-to-hearts that involve Colony 6, they don't become unlocked until much later in the game, like this one right here. Speaking of things unlocking, just unlocked a new skill for Riki. You know what? Let's continue working on the cowardice skill tree for Riki right here, just for a bit. Alright, so this heart-to-heart, unfortunately, doesn't become unlocked for quite some time. As far as when it'll unlock, I'm not too sure. But I do know it's not going to be for quite a while. Wow, that's a lot of blue orbs around here. That's actually pretty neat. Especially if you're hunting down certain orbs, if you know what I mean. Anyway, welcome to the main entrance of Colony 6, or what's left of it. There's nothing in here. Riki and friends should go now. Hello, Shawaria. Welcome. Glad you were able to make it to the stream. Yeah, I know. My biggest complaint here was not just the fact that Mario Galaxy 2 was excluded from the Mario 3D All-Stars collection, but the biggest pet peeve was that fact that they're only going to be available until the end of March 2021. Afterwards, the games will be delisted and will stop being sold. Yes. Ooh, dear. Wow, that's definitely a problem. Alright, so for this particular quest, we just need to beat up a bunch of bunnets and we should be fine. Although it does suck that the collection is only going to be available for a limited time of approximately 6 months, there is a rumor going around that Nintendo has some plans up their sleeve. Like, as soon as the collection becomes delisted, they may introduce a Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo 64, and Nintendo Wii Online added to the Nintendo Switch Online service. Who knows? I can't really say for sure. Reconstruct Colony 6 to level 1. Okay. So for that particular part of the quest line, we do need to complete some other quests. Again, this shouldn't be too hard to do. One thing I will mention here is, if there are some quests that you still need to do in Colony 6, before you bring everyone back to Colony 6, be sure to get them taken care of now. Otherwise, once you start sending everyone back to Colony 6, that's when things start to get nasty. Okay. Just a little bit further now. Nice one, Shulk.
I will give it my all, no matter the enemy.
Don't get careless, guys.
Nice one, Shulk. Oh boy, we got some problems. I was not expecting these things to show up, but here we are.
I'm really feeling it. It's up to you.
Leave it to me. Spear break. Ha!
Okay, guys. Now we're pulling together.
Bravo.
Okay.
Oh, bravo.
We did it.
When it comes to these enemies right here, they too are a part of this particular quest line. And even though they don't seem to be that much of a threat, trust me, their numbers are something else entirely. So what I mean by this is quite simple. If, they can very easily overwhelm you.
Bravo. Oh, bravo.
Okay, just a little bit further left to go.
I'm ready.
I expect nothing short of our very best.
How much the Super Mario Game & Watch is going to cost? I think I've heard that it's going to be like $50 or something. Though I can't really say if that's really the case or not.
Let's keep this up.
Until we know more, we don't exactly know how much this stuff is going to be. Let's see here. Didn't mean to take everything, but it is what it is. Also, I'm pretty sure these enemies that are around this area, they'll always drop a silver chest, maybe? I can't say if that's really the case or not, but it is something to keep in mind. At least you'll get some very valuable items from this, so that's pretty sweet. Okay. Excellent. Overall, a very valuable quest when it comes to gathering things and gathering materials and things of that nature.
Alright.
We got rid of all the monsters at the Wrangell Bridge. Now everyone go back home to Colony 6. So, once you say that you're ready to have everyone leave Colony 6, leave the refugee camp, everyone will then move on to Colony 6. In other words, once everyone leaves here, all the quests that had a little timer icon for the refugee camp, they'll all disappear. Okay. Let's go. So at this point now that this quest is now finally complete, reconstruction on Colony 6 can officially begin. And we also get some pretty nice gems to boot. An experience up 1 and AP up 1. Which, what they will do is they will increase the amount of experience as well as AP awarded in battle. So long as you have the gems equipped. Oh dear, that doesn't sound good. Oh dear. Alright.
Hello?
Hello there, young man. Please, tell us more about this job you have for us. Ooh, that's kind of sad. Alright, sure. That shouldn't be too difficult. Once we get his keepsake. A mushroom cap. Alright, sure. That shouldn't be too hard to get our hands on. So, at this point now, once you bring everyone to Colony 6 and begin, you can now begin reconstruction of the entire colony right here. Which, funny enough, if you're playing this game via New Game Plus, if you gathered every single material that you need to reconstruct the colony, you can bring every single, you can essentially rebuild the entire colony in one fell swoop. Just one thing to keep in mind is that these materials, unlike quest items, these will not be marked on your map. So, if we talk to Juju after everyone's brought here to Colony 6, it's time to rebuild our colony. But we pretty much lost everything we had. At least this building is intact. We'll use it as our headquarters. It'll be much harder to rebuild everything from scratch though. So we're going to need your help. How about it? To begin, we'll need materials, collectibles, and money. Just come and see me when you are free to help out. Don't worry, Athar has left me in charge of the reconstruction. Okay, so at this point now, you can now start working on reconstructing Colony 6. And in this version of the game, you can view what reconstruction info you need and what each of these levels correspond to. And what... Okay. I'm not exactly listing this stuff correctly, so when you speak to Juju again, you can view all the information you need to rebuild Colony 6. And in order to rebuild Colony 6, you not only need the materials specified by Juju here, but you also need the cash to be able to do so. And as we increase each of these levels, we'll require more and more extravagant materials and a lot more cash. So let's go ahead and build ourselves some nice houses first and foremost, and we'll work on the other parts. There we go. Housing level is increased by 1. You'll also get some achievements for starting the reconstruction project of Colony 6. And once you reach the max level of all 4 categories of reconstructing Colony 6, then you'll get another achievement on top of that. As you're reconstructing Colony 6, the completion value will increase exponentially. Each of the 4 categories for reconstructing Colony 6 can go as high as level 5. After they reach level 5, then you don't need to worry about reconstructing the colony anymore or gathering any more materials. But that doesn't mean that the completion status for rebuilding Colony 6 is at 100%. That only constitutes about 50% of the completion rating. As far as getting the remaining percentage, once you finish maxing out all the categories, You also have to speak to certain NPCs throughout the story and encourage them to move to Colony 6. And it's very specific NPCs as well, so there isn't really a quote-unquote guide available. I mean, there kind of is, but I wouldn't say it's exactly what we call reliable. For now, let's just focus on rebuilding the different parts of Colony 6. So, one thing I will mention here is, in this version of the game, when you want to figure out what parts you need to rebuild Colony 6, just pull up the quest menu and push minus, and you'll be able to view the info that you need for the different materials, items, etc., as well as the cash necessary. But if you want to work on reconstructing Colony 6, you still need to speak to Juju directly in order to begin the reconstruction project. So, again, something worth mentioning. So, when it comes to restoring the different levels of Colony 6 of all 4 categories, once you reach a milestone of each of the categories, you'll be awarded something pretty substantial. So, for example, once we get all 4 categories up to level 1, we will, we'll get ourselves something pretty sweet. Special level 1 has been achieved. And since everything else is now up to level 1, at this point in time, we'll get ourselves something else. Level complete bonus level 1. Streetlights have been built. And we got ourselves another bonus. Received a present from all the residents. An ultra small reactor. Hell yeah. That is awesome. So, all there's left now are the level 2s. And so, in order to get the level 2 requirements for each of these items, we need to gather the materials necessary. For housing level 2, we need Bunnia set wood. We need 4 of them. Hode plank, we're going to need 3 of those. Quad wing bag, we're going to need 2 of those. Well, technically I already have 1, but we need 1 more. And as far as the special is concerned, we're going to need 2 dust elements. Some of these things you may not be able to get your hands on right away until you progress through the story when you reach a certain point. So don't stress too much if you can't get these materials right away. So, again, if you know what you're doing and you gathered everything beforehand, then you can finish everything in one fell swoop. Otherwise, don't worry about it. You'll be able to finish it in due time. So, as far as the different things and the different categories, housing is pretty self-explanatory. In order to be able to allow residents to live here in Colony 6, you need to build more houses. The higher the housing level, the more the population will fill up. That's pretty obvious. For Comrades, this is basically building a shopping district of sorts. The higher the level, the more shops will become available, and you'll be able to shop at more shops. Pretty self-explanatory. Nature level, if you increase this level, more plant-like features will be added to the colony, like trees, flower beds, etc., etc. Pretty self-explanatory there. And when you increase the nature level, you'll also increase the quality of the ether crystals within the ether mine itself from down below. So, that's pretty damn sweet if you're trying to get your hands on some very valuable crystals and crystal levels. As far as special is concerned, special is a bit unique. When you increase the special level, special structures are built, and you'll be able to get your hands on some fairly decent items which are helpful for completing your Collectopedia. So, if you're looking for a particular item, it may have a chance of spawning at these special locations. So, that's pretty sweet. But since I've already completed my Collectopedia, I don't need to worry so much about this. But I am going to be working on gathering the materials necessary to increase the levels for the colony, if that wasn't obvious. One other thing worth mentioning as well is that when more and more shops open up, certain shops only operate at certain times of day. So in other words, some shops are only available during the day and others are only available during the night. So that is pretty interesting. And it also makes Colony 6 the most unique of all the towns in the game, as it only has certain shops open at certain times of the day, while others are only open at night, etc., etc. You know what I mean? Okay. So, before I turn in this reactor, there is something I kind of want to take care of around here. Considering that there are a couple of Nopon who are going to be in danger by a beast of some kind, I definitely don't want their dead bodies on my conscience, if you know what I mean. Okay. I believe this particular enemy, the Lazy Hawks, only appears during this quest. And funny enough, if you're a high enough level, you can technically ignore this thing and just proceed and just complete the quest more quickly as a result. Just a little bit further now, and he's dead. Good. Very nice to see. Cool. Coolio. There you go, little buddy. Everything's good to go. And I think for technically the next part of that particular quest, I think this next part takes place in the Ether Mine, but thankfully you don't have to go too far in. I think. Yeah, that seems about right to me.
Greetings.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, it's nice to see that's taken care of. Might as well pick this up while we're here. The mushroom cap. Alright. Coolio. I just love it when I'm able to complete multiple quests all at once. It just feels so efficient.
Look at this.
Okay. So, one thing I will mention here is that, technically speaking, Colony 6 is its own area. In other words, it has its own reputation system. And raising the reputation of this place can be a bit daunting. How? Well, depending on what you do and how you go about reconstructing Colony 6, it might take a long time before you're even able to raise the reputation level of this place by 1 star. Making this place kind of the most difficult place to raise the reputation of in the entire game. The only real way you're going to be able to raise the reputation of this place is by reconstructing Colony 6 back to its former glory. Okay. Now then. There is one other thing I will mention here is once you start moving everyone back to Colony 6, some new quests do open up. And another thing worth mentioning as well is there are some quests that you can take on, but there may be others of which you may miss out on depending on how fast you reconstruct Colony 6. Once Colony 6 is rebuilt to its former glory, some quests may end up closing up, which that can be a bit problematic if you're trying to go after as many quests as possible. Okay. Interesting.
Who's this?
Definitely a lot of records when it comes to... Okay, I don't even know what the hell I was saying. One thing I will mention here is... believe it or not, the reconstruction of Colony 6... You can wait quite a long time before you can even start this thing. So what I mean by this is that eventually you will get to a point in the story where you have no choice but to go into the remains of Colony 6. And when that happens, then you'll be able to start reconstructing Colony 6 right then and there. But if you want to start way sooner, you do have to complete the required quests before you can do so. So, that's something. There we go. All done with that? Now that the Ultra Reactor has... now that this quest is done, now we have ourselves a mobile furnace. And thus a new option is added, known as gem crafting. So, you don't need to speak to the gem crafter to craft more gems anymore. Now, as long as we have this thing, we'll be able to craft our own gems anywhere in the world, which is awesome to see. Hello, what do we have here? Looks like some more quest-related stuff right down here. Splash. I figured I might as well take on a few more quests before we call this a session. And the simple reason for this is... Well, the next area we're going to be going to, the Eryth Sea, it is a pretty big place, and there's a lot of things to keep in mind as we explore the unknown land that is the Eryth Sea. It is a very large place, one of the largest places in the entire game. Oh boy. You want to fight, little boy? Then bring it! Get smacked. Well, that was easy enough. Kind of funny how that thing didn't really give us much of any experience whatsoever. Makes sense. Alright. If I'm being frank here, I was not expecting that enemy to target me. Hell, I didn't even realize it was a unique monster. And thankfully I did defeat it before, so defeating it now was literally a cakewalk. It was as simple as breathing. It was that frickin' easy. So easy, a caveman can beat it with just a flick of the wrist. Like that. Okay. Time to take care of some more stuff. Thankfully, this won't take too much longer. Get smacked.
Heropon.
Don't get careless, guys.
Nice.
Psychics make Riki proud!
I see your strength is the genuine article.
Cool. Let's keep this up.
Nice. 3 gem slot Spark Lancer. You don't see that every day.
Leave it to Heropon.
Don't get careless, guys.
I will give it my all, no matter the enemy.
Psychics do it. Come on, we can do it. Riki strong!
Yes, indeed. Riki is definitely strong. Okay. So at this point in the game, a lot of the quests that take place around here and just in the early areas are just a lot easier if that wasn't obvious, considering that we are a hell of a lot stronger.
Time to unleash a chain attack.
All right, do it.
Really, Riki try really hard. You see it?
Of course, you sweet thing. Who's a brave boy?
Melia, are you feeling okay?
Gotta love that dialogue between Melia, Riki, as well as Shulk. It's probably one of my favorite dialogue pieces in the entire game. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and take care of right now is going to be gathering the Dynamite for the Ether Mine. Thankfully, this really shouldn't be too difficult to get our hands on. And like I mentioned before, even though a large majority of the Ether Mine is no longer available for access, that doesn't mean that we're shit out of luck when it comes to basically anything. Because everything that we can get our hands on can be found within the early parts of the mine. And again, it doesn't take too long to get our hands on them. In fact, some things we can just grab with very little effort. Especially when we're a high enough level to just simply walk past everyone. Of course, there's no harm in fighting the enemies anyway, just to get them out of the way. And you might even be able to get your hands on some nice stuff from them, depending on what they drop. So, that's pretty nice. Alright, where to now? Okay. So one other thing I will mention here is that gathering the Dynamite, it is a quest within itself, but you don't have to necessarily get the Dynamite if you're playing New Game Plus. So what I mean by this is that the spiral mountain of which we need to go to in order to gather the item we need for the quest giver, you technically speaking can fight the powerful enemy and just give him a good slap across the face and be on your merry way. But the thing is, when it comes to that, in order to beat the thing, you need to be at a very high level. It's a level 94 enemy. And considering that getting a high enough level like that is a bit of a task within itself, it's a better idea to just do the quest where you just make the Dynamite and make a new path. There we are. So, with the Dynamite in hand, now we can access a new sort of route. So, in order to get to where we need to go, this is a pretty easy thing to do. After we finish up another quest, get that nice and complete. Yay. Okay. Alright, time to head back to Spiral Valley. Which, like I said, in order to progress forward, what you have to do here is lay down the dynamite. Ow! Okay, it's a level 90 enemy. Well, regardless though, this thing, you definitely don't want to fight this thing unless you are in the high level 90 range. So, in order to get around, what we have to do here is pretty simple. We just need to navigate our way through this particular cave, which that in itself can be a bit of a challenge. Considering the fact that the cave itself is infested with like level 80 like enemies, and a lot of them are really damn strong and annoying, getting past them, thankfully, is not too difficult. And the reason why that is the case is simply due to the fact that the high-level enemies who can be triggered they only come after you if you are making loud noises around them, or if you target them yourself. So these enemies here, as you can see, are like level 74. These enemies are like level 73. And like I said, a lot of them... Okay, I thought this was a level 80 area. It's actually a level 70-like area. And again, thankfully you can just walk right past everyone if you know exactly where to go and know what to do. Okay, that should be a good enough distance. Let's get moving. I know that I've mentioned before that you can jump down to this lower platform in the Spiral Valley if you know exactly where to jump. But I think it can only be done with certain characters at certain points in time. Maybe. I'm not too sure. I mean, I did just try it with Riki and it didn't really work out. So, might as well go ahead and show off the intended way that you're supposed to do this particular part of the quest anyway. So, again, no big deal. Also, I believe this path technically only opens up after you get the Dynamite. Otherwise, you'd have to fight the giant gorilla there. And let me tell you, it's not exactly what we call a fun time. Unless you are maxed out as far as levels are concerned. In which case, it's quite fun and quite a challenge. Let's see. Okay. Here we are.
Who's this?
All right. Another one down. On to the next. It's kind of funny how I keep mentioning that a lot of these quests are easy enough. When we're completing one, more are opening up, which is pretty sweet. Alright, I think the next set of quests I'm going to go ahead and take care of are going to be here in Makna Forest, which thankfully aren't too difficult to worry about whatsoever. One kind of interesting thing about Makna Forest is that the forest itself, it's not really all that big. Kind of weird if you think about it, but it's true.
No panic.
Funny how Shulk said that. No panic. And yet Riki takes damage at the same time. It's kind of hilarious. Okay. So, for this particular quest right here, all we have to do is just beat up a bunch of enemies around here. It is quite a ways within this forest. I did mention that the place itself is not too big. I mean, it does stretch out pretty far, but it really isn't all that big. In fact, it's a pretty small world, or a small area if you really think about it. Excuse me? Alright. All done. All done with that. Let's see. Don't need another love biter. Got plenty of those. Well, more or less, I got the only one that I really need when it comes to that. Funny enough, around here you'll find some pretty big giants. These guys can take a little bit of effort to take down, especially if you're trying to topple them. But again, they really shouldn't be too much of an issue so long as you are doing quests and know exactly what you're doing.
But we cannot be reckless.
So you may be wondering, why the hell was it that I was fighting those things in the first place? Well, the reason why is quite simple. There's a certain item that I'm kind of looking for, and the odds of them dropping it are pretty damn small. And when I say small, I mean low, and I mean low. Okay.
Let's stay focused.
Let's see what we got over here. Already got myself a marble driver, so no need to worry about that. I'm not sure what else to really talk about here at this point in time. Now, you may notice that the quest marker is down below where I'm at. But getting to where we need to go is a little bit of an adventure within itself. But thankfully, it really isn't that hard. So long as you follow the marker, you should know exactly where to go without too much of an issue.
Leave it to me.
Leave it to me. Let us move in for the kill. You must suffer more. Here, Riki, go.
There we are.
Exhibit our strength, Shulk.
All done with that. Let's see what we got. Perhaps it'll be the thing I'm finally looking for. Maybe. Guess not. Perhaps these things that I'm looking for that particular enemy spawn only appears in silver chests, or I'm just getting unlucky with the gold chests. Who knows?
Everyone, do your best.
I expect nothing.
Anyway, welcome to the hold layer.
Follow Riki. Heropon biggest, strongest.
Okay, my turn. Melia, it's up to you.
Leave it to me.
Wow, nice and chill.
Riki was cool, eh?
By the way, certain status elements such as chill, burn, etc. I think what they do is add like some sort of poison effect. In other words, if
Melia, are you feeling okay?
in other words, if an enemy is chilled or they're on fire or something, they take a little bit of damage over time. So it's kind of the same as poisoning someone in like other JRPGs. But really, I wouldn't rely or really worry so much about if I would be burned or if I would be frozen or something. It really isn't that bad. It honestly isn't.
But we
I feel as though spike damage is way worse. At least in my experience, and also my opinion too. But everyone's experience is different. Okay. Anyway, the reason why I saved right here was just because I haven't saved in a while, and I figured now's a good time as any to do so. Just in case. Like if the game were to suddenly crash or something. I don't think that would happen, considering that the game did get patched not too long ago. But you never know. Better to be safe rather than sorry, because believe me, when I've had a crash happen to me one time when playing this game, I lost over 2 hours worth of progress, and that was not fun at all. Cool.
Nice job.
Let us remain vigilant.
Riki is Heropon, so feel no fear.
Everyone, do your best.
I expect nothing but our very best.
So anyway, around here there is actually a pretty powerful, unique monster, which that can take a bit of time to take down, especially if you're not prepared. So one thing that you can do to lessen the blow is take out everyone else around it before you attempt to fight it. Nice one, Shulk. Okay, let's get to this. Might as well wipe everyone out like a nuclear bomb. Get smacked.
My turn. You must suffer more.
Leave it to Heropon. All fall down, crash back. Again.
Leave it to me. It's not over yet.
My turn. Spear break. Ha!
Okay.
Bravo. Oh, bravo.
Good to see that we managed to wipe out basically everyone just from that one chain attack alone. Which is kind of interesting considering that the enemies around here can be a bit problematic. What's also pretty interesting is, depending on how you have your party set up, depending on your actions and how long you're able to sustain the chain attack, you might be able to get enough of the party gauge built up during the chain attack to execute another one immediately after. And let me tell you, unleashing the power of the skill trees and getting all the skills necessary to have such a setup possible is one of the most satisfying things about this freaking game. It really is.
Let's stay focused.
Neato. Cool. All good to go. That's sweet to see. Also, I believe if you're not fast enough, some additional enemies may show up out of nowhere to wreck your day. And you definitely do not want that to happen. So, that's something worth mentioning. Okay. Wow, we're already at the 3-hour mark? Wow, I was not expecting us to be at this point so fast. I mean, what can I say? Time flies when you're having fun. And doing these sorts of quests, it does take a lot of time, but it is definitely fun. Especially considering that you are expanding the world so much by doing these quests. It not only affects the NPCs, but also it does affect your party as a whole. As you may be able to learn more about them, their past, and other things in between. I'm just saying.
Oh, fine.
What do you got for us this time? Okay. This shouldn't be too hard. Funny enough, I believe this quest can be done very quickly if you know exactly what you're doing. In fact, I may actually go ahead and complete that quest real fast before calling it a session, considering that it's one of those things where you can just get it done immediately if you know exactly where to go. So, looks like we're going to be going on for a little bit longer. Not too much longer, but I'm just saying. Wow, you got another one? Oh, what do we got here? Oh dear. Looks like he has to choose who he wants to be with and make his wifey pawn. Sounds fun. Why do that? Why give us this opportunity to choose who you want to spend the rest of your life with? Like, really, what the hell's up with that? Let's see. Hello. Wow, okay, this is definitely going to be one of those fun kinds of quests where we just have to beat up a bunch of monsters in order to allow this person, what's his name? Madamo. Well, damn. Okay. Regardless, though, his quest really shouldn't be too difficult whatsoever. Okay. That shouldn't be too difficult whatsoever. Oh, right, I forgot there's this quest I'm still working on. Here you go. Here's your mixer. Rip mixer, if you know what I mean. Even though it's been ripperoonie for that for, like, the past couple months. Just saying. Cool. So, like I said before, raising the reputation of certain places do award you an achievement, and maximizing the reputation of another place gives you another achievement. Hello, Banna. How are you, my dude? AKA probably the most beloved Nopon around here next to Riki, aka the Heropon. I know that I meant to just go after one more quest, but I couldn't really help myself of starting up several other quests at the same time. Considering they're right here in my face, I might as well go ahead and get them started. Let's see here. I believe where we need to go is quite simple. We just need to head over here to the Nopon Arch, and then start making our way backwards. And funny enough, this particular item we're looking for, this thing only shows up during the wee hours in the morning, so around dawn, which I believe is around 4 and 5 a.m. If not, it's like 5 to 6 a.m., something like that. So again, in order to get this thing to show up, we first need to head over here and deal with this frickin' toad, or more or less this brog, which thankfully that shouldn't be too difficult to take care of, considering it is a very low level enemy. Bye bye.
Try really hard. You see it?
Of course, you sweet thing. Who's a brave boy?
Melia, are you feeling okay?
Okay. Perhaps the time that I was looking for was not 5 a.m. Probably it's... maybe it's 4? Okay. Let's try changing the time again. Okay, I know what I'm looking for is around here. But the thing is, for whatever reason, this stuff is not showing up. Perhaps it's because I have already collected it? Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and leave this the way it is. I know I said I wanted to get this particular quest done, but for whatever reason it's not really showing up right now. Probably because, again, like I said, I think I've already collected the items I needed and I just didn't realize. I am not 100% sure, but regardless though, I'm going to go ahead and call it a session here. We've been going on for a little bit too long now, and I figured now is a good time to end things. I know I've collected a lot more quests, and I've also managed to complete a lot of others too. But I figured that around this point, it's a good idea to just call it a day around here. That way, the next session we'll be able to not only be able to unlock our next destination, but even more quests. So, again, it may not seem like we got a whole lot done today, but trust me, we sure as hell did. It may not seem like it, but it is what it is. So with that, folks, I bid you all adieu for today. This is General Snivy with the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition playthrough. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you were able to attend the live stream live, thank you for attending. Next time, we're going to be heading on up to the Eryth Sea. And maybe we'll even find something even more spectacular up there. Only one way to find out, and that is to tune in next time. So once again, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. See you all on the flip side.